This week on this hot summer weekend, Omnibus takes you to Lake Champlain for some rowing and some sailing. First, to Burlington, Vermont, and the Vermont side of Lake Champlain to meet the most successful rower in Olympic history. And then we go to Plattsburgh, New York, to meet the most successful sailor in Olympic history. 10 combined gold medals. And in an ironic twist of fate, they're both quite British. Happy Treason Weekend, America! The British invade Lake Champlain for the first time since 1812. Next, as Retro Sports Network presents Omnibus, as we prepare for the summer of Tokyo. And, of course, it's brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Okay, so today we're going to do a men's rowing race, which was originally run in 1988 in Seoul, South Korea, but instead it's going to be in Burlington, Vermont. And we're going to do a one-person sailing race. Well, there's actually 6 people or 8 people racing in the sailing race, but yes, you can sail in a dinghy as long as it has a sail and meets a certain requirements and looks, and you can have an Olympic boat. And so that's what we're going to do from 2000. This was originally in Sydney. We're going to move it to Plattsburgh, New York. So, and one of the rare competitions in the Olympics that actually can be for both men and women. We'll explain that when we get to it. So sailing and rowing is what we got for you today on the program. But first, let's take you to Burlington, Vermont. And let's get real close. We'll show you the bay where the most decorated rower in Olympic history is about to perform for you. This is the coxless men's pair as part of the sailing regatta that happens at every Olympics. And today, from the beautiful shores of Lake Champlain in my own Burlington, Vermont, we introduce you to the most decorated decorated person in Olympic rowing history, Sir Steve Redgrave. He is with Andy Holmes in Great Britain on the top of there. And when they do get to it, they will be reading off the A column and then 3 additional rolls. Now, all rowing races since 1988 in the Olympics are 2 kilometers. And we split this into 4, 500 meters, 1,000 meters, 1,500 meters, and of course 2 kilometers. And for this particular event, the split's going to be 100.87 seconds from start to finish. Or for each 500 meters, the final time should be around 6:43 and change. In fact, I think that they won it was 6:35. So we'll see what we get for the final result. But a coxless pair is not a couple of Ken dolls on the shelf at Walmart. No, a coxless boat is someone that is steered actually by the members of the rowing team. They have foot pedals there, and that's how they make sure the boat stays on the straight and narrow. A coxed pair, or anything with a coxed in it, actually has someone, or a coxswain actually is the person in the boat who steers it while the others row it. But in a coxless boat, that is not the case. I believe one of these two will have foot pedals, and as they try to row as fast as they can, try to keep the boat going on the straight and narrow. And so with all that, let's get right to it. Of course, it would help if I introduced the 6 boats that are in the race now, wouldn't it? Okay, so from bottom to top, in the 6th position, Igor Zubrenko of the Soviet Union with Valery Virovich. In the 5 spot, they'll be reading, by the way, out of the E column. In the 5 spot, Karl Erdl and Uwe Gasch of East Germany. In the 4th spot, from Belgium, this was a 6-boat race, Alain Llewellyn and Wim van Bellegem. Now the medalists from Yugoslavia, from the bronze position, Sadek Mujic and Bojan Przern of Slovenia. In the silver position, Danu Dobre and Dragos Negu of Romania. And in the top position, the projected gold medal winner, Andy Holmes and Steve Redgrave. Sir Steve Redgrave is the most decorated rower in Olympic history. He would win this event 5 times, starting in 1988 and all the way through the 90s, and would win in Athens in 2000. So the East Germans and Russians will read out of the E column, the Belgians out of the D column, the Yugoslavian pair will read out of the B, and the Romanian will get the A roll with a +1 roll after that, and the heavy favorites, Holmes and Redgrave, will be getting the A column and then 3 rolls on top of that. And we'll show you where we are after each 500 meters. So a good start as we pass the 500 meter mark for Holmes and Redgrave. They finished the first quarter of the course in a minute 40:33, full 0.4 of a second above Negrao and Dobre of Romania. Presser and Mujic in the bronze position, 140.81. So those two, the Romanian and Yugoslavian boats, are neck and neck. Now, not a good start for the Belgian crew. 141.68. They're 0.3 of a second behind Erdl and Gash of East Germany, and the Zabrenko Virovich of the Soviet Union 0.6 ahead. So the medal position, the Yugoslavian boat a full 0.4 ahead of the Russian boat, but Holmes and Redgrave in pretty good position in the first half. A good start, a good 4.5 hundredths of a second ahead as we get past the first marker. We'll check again at the halfway mark. And a huge surprise in the last 500 meters as Presser and Mujic of Yugoslavia did the second part in a minute 40:09 to pass both the Romanian boat and the British boat of Holmes and Redgrave. But it's very, very close. Llewellyn and Van Belleghem of Belgium with a very, very good second 500 meters. They did it in a minute 40:81. So the standings halfway home. It's Presser and Mujic at 3:20 and 90. Holmes and Redgrave 0.8 of a second behind at 3:20.98. Then the Romanian boat of Negau and Dobre at 3:21.43. They did the middle of the second 500 in a minute 40.65. The Belgian boat a minute 40:81 to go 3:22.49. And then there's a dead heat for 5th place with the Russians and the East Germans at exactly 3:22 and 70. We'll talk to you again after we do the third leg. And a much better 500 from Holmes and Redgrave as they do their third leg in a minute 40 and 26. So they are at 5:01.24 and a half second above the Yugoslavian team, who had a much more pedestrian minute 40 and 81 for their third leg of the race. Now, the East Germans are in dead last at 5:04 and 20. The Russians at 5:04.05. They had a pretty good leg, 1:01.35 or minute 40:35. The Belgians, a steady leg at 5:03.84, and they're only 0.4 of a second off the medal as the Romanians continue to struggle, a minute 40.84 for that boat and 5:02.27. They are a half second behind the Yugoslavians going in the last 500 meters at 5:01.71, who are in turn a half second behind Holmes and Redgrave at 5:01.24. We'll show you the last 4 boats in a moment. So as we come to the pole, or the lake, to show you the last 4 boats, Erdl and Gash of East Germany ran out of gas. They had the worst of everybody so far, a 141.68 for the last 500. They crossed the line at 6:45.88. The Russians aren't going to medal, 6:45 and 4, very consistent, a minute 41.35 each leg of the last kilometer. Now, the Belgian boat, they have a chance to medal. They're reading out of the D. They need... The phone rang and I had to redo all that. So the Belgian boat needs a good roll. They're 0.4 of a second behind the Romanians. Let's see if they can put some pressure on as we go to the final 500 meters for them. They're reading off the D. They roll a 7. That's not going to get them anywhere. It's 0.21. And so I add that to 100.87.2 is 101.28. Don't ask, it works. And they cross the line in 6:45 and 12. So here should be the medalist. The Romanian pair will get out of the A column and +1. They need a full second behind the British. It's a 4, so it's .70. Oh, they got a very good run, 78. And we're going to add to that 6 for 84. And so they cross the line in 6:42 and 30, a final 500 meters of 1:40.03, their best of the race. Now here's the Yugoslavians. They really, really need a low roll to maintain that silver medal position. They get one crack at, oh, they get the best possible result, and they're going to come home in 1:40 and 09. And they will beat out the Romanians for the silver at 6:41 and 80. And now maybe, just maybe, although the British get 3 bites of the cherry, they could actually steal this race. The base roll out of the A is going to be 64 hundredths. Now we go 2 more times, 64. The second roll is an 8 for 72. That should be enough. 11 for 83. They come home. In a minute 40 and .04 and cross the line at 6:41 and 28. And so Sir Steve Redgrave did what he had to do. They win the race by 6/10 of a second at 6:41 and 28. The Yugoslavian pair, let me get it up here so I can try to pronounce these names right, of Sadiq Mujic and Bojan Prezern do better than they did in real life. They were the bronze in Seoul in 88, but here they get 6:41 and 80, and in fact, that was about 0.8 of a second slower than what they did in real life. And the surprising finish for Dino Dobre and Dragos Nego of Romania to finish third at 6:42 and 3. They had 2 bad, actually they really had 3 bad segments. They couldn't get what they going for the last 500 meters. They posted the best time segment of the race, a minute 40.03. But it wasn't enough. They finished half a second behind the Yugoslavian pair, and the British pair of Holmes and Redgrave will celebrate at 6:41 and 28. Now, in real life, they ran the final in 6:36 and 84, but they'll take it. It was almost a 3-second one in real life. Doesn't matter how close it was. It works. About half a second, and that's all they needed. They ran their best segment in the final 500 meters, too, and kept the boat going straight and narrow. And so that is how the rowing will work, and we'll have all the finals for you when we do our Summer of Tokyo. We'll break those onto a couple videos, I'm sure. So congratulations to Sir Steve Redgrave of Great Britain. He is the winner here in the first part of our Lake Champlain regatta. So we leave our home base of Burlington, Vermont, and the friendly confines of Lake Champlain after that exciting race, and take you all the way over to Plattsburgh, New York, near Crab Island and Cumberland Bay for some sailing action as we go to, as I said, the open one-person dinghy from 2000 and Sydney. Now, Olympic sailing is different from what you would normally know as the America's Cup or any of the other big races. I mean, they might do the bigger boats and all that, but this really is a variety of different classes, starting from the smaller, really just kind of 1 or 2 person, I suppose you could call them yachts. This one is technically a dinghy that weighs a certain amount. It's all fiberglass. It became this particular model was invented in 1969 and actually became part of the Olympic sailing program in 1996. So this is the second time that these boats were raced. And our person that we're following here, Ben Ainsley, of Great Britain would actually would race these boats through 2016. He would go up to the Flynn class of boats for 2004, but this would be the first of his gold medal runs. He's a silver medalist from Atlanta in 1996. Now, we're going to do just one race here. What they would do in a real Olympic competition, and we'll figure out how we're going to do it when we get to the summer of Tokyo, is that they raced these boats 11 times. There was actually a total of 43 who competed in this competition, and they were given a scoring system, and they could drop 2 races and all that, and then the results of those combined to determine the gold medal winner, which Ainsley won the gold, Robert Scheidt of Brazil was the silver winner, and Michael Blackburn of Australia was the bronze. And so they are in here. In fact, we included the top 8 from those 11 races into the field. We'll go through that in a moment. We're just going to do one race of the 11, and it kind of will be, there's no time here. It's much like Daring Racers, Roberto Chiavini's car racing or auto racing game, where they will be given spots on a mythical board, and what I'll say is that for each spot difference, that's like 1 boat length. Not sure if that's realistic or not, but that's how we'll treat it. It's a 6-leg race, and so we'll update you after each leg, and then probably show, if it's close, the last couple, we'll show you the top 2 or 3 boats and dice rolls for that, or the dice are actually on my second screen. So that's how Olympic sailing works. It goes from these little individual boats. These are fast. These are fast. And so, as I said, we're going up to Cumberland Bay in Plattsburgh, New York for this round. And so let's introduce you to the competition. So the joys of trying to figure out how to do this and see if it's recording and all that. We'll see if I can actually use this video in a moment. So everybody starts even, and we'll go through leg by leg. So everyone starts on 0. There's no qualification. And then you can just imagine whatever course you'd like, and we pass the first buoy, then the second one, the third one, and then race back for 4, 5, and 6. And so we'll show you the results after each leg of the event. But it starts, everybody's even, and then, as I said, hopefully they got through it. Wherever they are, they'll be for whatever length back. So that's how we're going to go. So although Ainsley did win the overall event in the 11 races, there's no guarantee that he will actually win this one-off heat. And so we'll show you how we are after the first leg. Well, you couldn't ask for a better start from Ainsley, as he has a 2-boat length lead over Scheidt, his rival, Blackburn, Katz, and Greitzer, who had great rolls out of the gate. 2 boat lengths behind there as we round the first buoy, the Portuguese boat of Lima, the Polish boat of Grabowski, and the Italian boat of Nigri. And so a good start for everybody as we get through the first of 6 legs here. But Ainsley leads by 2. So a good run in leg 2 for Ainsley, and he now still commands a 2-boat length lead over the silver medalist Scheidt of Brazil. Not a great run for Grabowski that time. Lima and Nigri with a 2-length lead over them. Greitzer of Austria has a 1-length lead over him at 5. Then Blackburn and Katz, the Australian and the Dutch boat, are 3 lengths back of the leader. Scheidt had a good run, but so did Ainsley, and so Scheidt makes the turn towards the third buoy, 2 lengths back, but Ainsley by 2 over Scheidt, 3 over Blackburn and Katz, 4 over Greitzer, in what's been a good race on a beautiful day here in Plattsburgh from Lake Champlain. Well, as we're halfway through this particular sailing event, Ainsley's lead is now down to 1 length over Scheit. Both had good legs, but Scheit got a little more of that downwind to help him out. They are 2 lengths ahead of Scheit, is 2 lengths ahead of Blackburn for third. Katz and Gereitzer are 4 back with +8. Lima then 1 behind him. Negri and Grabowski is in 8th place, but all in positive numbers and having a good race. So Ainsley, trying to win this one-off race, is still up by 1. But remember, Scheit, when we actually start showing rolls, or at least telling you about the rolls, is reading from a better class and has a huge advantage in the Killer Instinct. So Ainsley holding on by 1 length. Well, it was Mr. Blackburn who made the big move this time. He's now 1 length behind Scheit and 2 behind Ainsley with 2 legs of the race to go. And so there are still 6 boats within 5 lengths of each other. Negri and Grabowski, the Italian and Polish boat, just having a nice little sail, but there's nothing wrong with finishing 7th or 8th here. Lima could use a bit of a boost. Gereitzer and Katz are pretty much side by side as we start the 5th leg. And then Ainsley, Scheit, and Blackburn are 2 lengths apart. Ainsley at 15, Scheit at 14, and Blackburn at 13. And so we'll show you the last 3 rolls of this leg. So a little bit of separation between Gereitzer and Lima as we pick it up. Katz, who has done very well, rolls out of the K at 10. That will not help out. A 10K is only going to get him 1, so Gereitzer is going to pass Katz heading into the last leg. By 2 lengths. He's actually tied now with Lima. Now Blackburn, who was 2 lengths behind Ainsley going into this leg, out of the H will read a 10. That's not very good. That will only get him 2. So he's 1 clear of Gereitzer for third. Let's see, Scheit out of the G. 7G is 3, so Scheit will be at spot 17. And now Ainsley out of the H is going to roll a 9, and that is only 2. So they're tied going into the last leg. So into the last leg, it's Ainsley and Scheit. Remember, Scheit has a tremendous advantage in the Killer Instinct and is reading on the higher column. So Scheit going in the last 2 legs has the best chance. Blackburn is 2 back at 15, and Gereitzer could medal. He's at 14. He's 3 back. We'll have the last 4 for you in a moment. And now the last 4 boats are going to go through. What a last leg by Serge Katz of the Netherlands. He got the best roll he possibly could and is now sitting technically in a silver medal position at 16. He's going to get past. Here's the last 4 boats. Gereitzer at 14. He's 3 behind coming in. He's rolling out of the K. The lower the roll, the better the result. It's a 6 out of the K, and he's going to get an additional 2 lengths. He's at 16. Now Blackburn needs 1 to tie and 2 for that position, and 2 to go possibly get the gold. He's going to roll out of the H. 5H is going to be 4. He got a 4 boost out of that. How about that? At 19. Now Scheit and Ainsley, who are really just kind of half a side by side, waiting for the wind to go. The last leg, they're crossing the finish line. Out of the G, 8 is 3. So a 20. Now Ainsley needs pretty much a 4 to win the race. And so since he's reading out of the H, he can win it with a 2, 3, 4, or 5. And the roll is a 9. And a 9H is only 2. Oh my goodness. And so Scheit, who had won so many of these races, but had the 2 really bad drop-offs, is going to win this one. Now, who's going to finish second? Ainsley, we're going to take 1d6 here, and I'm going to read these out loud. So Ainsley is going to have a 2 plus on the... And so Blackburn needs pretty much... Blackburn has a 0, so... Ainsley's roll is a 3, and Blackburn is a 6. And so Blackburn will finish with the silver, and Ainsley with the bronze. So there you have it. The 96 gold medal winner in this class wins the race by 1 length over Ainsley and Blackburn, and you didn't see it right because it should be silver above bronze. So Blackburn got the nose of his dinghy over the line before Ainsley did. So if we were doing points, Scheit would have had 8, Blackburn 7, Ainsley 6. Gereitzer and Katz technically tied for 4th. Lima 3 lengths back in 6th place. Negri of Italy 3 lengths behind him and 10 behind the leader or winner. And then Grabowski, a good last run, but just didn't have the horsepower to make it. Well, I hope this kind of looked okay. I gotta go back and watch some of it to see how much of this is actually going to make it up there. It's almost impossible to try to get the feel of a race like this because there was 11 and it's not necessarily a one-off or a medal event. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and the cruise we took around Lake Champlain today. Hey, next week, how about some lamb races? It's not even a cards and dice and chart thing. It's an actual honest-to-God lamb race. Or maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. I've been sent something to actually share, and hopefully she'll let me share it with you. And so that's Omnibus for this week. So that's how the rowing will work when we do the Summer of Tokyo, and we'll figure out how the sailing events will go when I research into it. But if you were curious about Roberto Chiavini's Olympic rowing and sailing, I didn't show you the tables. The dice needed to be on the other monitor because it needed the space. And hopefully you like the map gadgets. And so until the next time, I'm Ron Juckett. Thanks for watching Omnibus. We'll talk to you during the week for baseball live at noon Eastern on twitch.tv/Retro Sports Network, and of course every day at Retro Sports Network here on YouTube. Until then, bye-bye.